I have survived years of fear and propaganda, fear campaigns, government overreach, threats, closing down of small businesses I enjoyed, cancellation of medical appointments the PTB deemed unnecessary during a scamdemic. I've avoided the dreaded spicy flu, the Rona, the coof, if you will. Alas, my time has come. I had a good run. Dodged, and now I am diseased. Frown. My tale of woe begins on Thursday afternoon last week. I moved on to some new medication, and started with my first dose at 4 p.m. By the time Friday came around, I was getting a bad migraine. The headache spread and got progressively worse through the day until it was like I'd been kicked in the face by a horse. At this stage, I still thought maybe it was a bad reaction to the new medication. I remember telling people it felt like the good old-fashioned flu, joint aches and sensitive skin that hurts when you put on clothes, but that I wasn't sneezing or coughing, so I didn't know what was going on. Friday night was horrible. The joint pain was everywhere and constant, but certain joints would hurt a little more than the others for about 10 minutes, then that shitty feeling would move. My ankles would feel fiery, later my hips would burn, then my knees, etc. I lay there thinking, WTF, this is a crazy reaction to the medication. They could have fucking warned me. I pushed through, didn't take painkillers all day, surprised because it was so bad. It was incredibly painful all over my head and face. Like someone had used screws to staple my skin onto my skull. I got all the way to midnight before I called the National Health Advice Line and asked them what they thought. Is this adverse reaction going to get worse? The first doctor told me I needed to present to an ER within 6 hours after some exploratory questions. Then he made another GP call me. That one told me to just take some painkillers and go to sleep, then maybe head down to the ER in a few hours. I packed a bag of snacks, charged my phone and headed out. It was a blur because I was in pain and my face still felt like a donkey kicked it in, but I got there, parked the car and walked a hell of a long way to the ER, where I saw that there were over 20 people ahead of me. On a Sunday morning. I had to use the wall in order to walk into the ER. My legs and limbs were sore and weak. I got in and told them I thought it might be an adverse reaction to meds. The nurse at the window asked me questions, then told me to put on a mask and to sit on a set of chairs that were for people they wanted to test for the Rona. As soon as I sat down, another woman came over and told me it was no longer protocol to test for Rona, so I could sit with the other commoners. Herein lies the interesting part. I sat feeling like shit for over 3 hours while other people puked and cried around me. I lamented the cost of my parking because, in Australia, you pay for the privilege of barely making it to the emergency room alone when no one can support you or drop you there. So they slug you another version of a singles tax. You get a bill for the luxury of having your car in an area vaguely nearby, that you somehow managed to find while in copious amounts of pain before you stumbled in the general direction of where they say they will help you. So after over 3.5 hours, I was told it would be another 4 hours on top, so I bailed. The fact they didn't seem to think this suspected adverse reaction was important and I was wasting my day sitting there, I let them know and then I left. I got home and did a rapid antigen test, and, Rona. The test was so potent. LOL, it changed to bright red stripes immediately. Essentially, the people in charge of the emergency room made me go and sit my Rona positive ass down in a room full of other people who didn't need to add to their illnesses. So, what does it feel like? Total ass. I keep saying it's a blur, but that's what it is. It's been days of pain and hours ticking by while I try to force myself to eat so I can take painkillers and the VC, zinc and other. To eat, due to the pain in my throat, I only wanted /1 high-calorie heavily flavored foods, otherwise it didn't feel worth it. Lord knows how many kgs I'd have put on from this ordeal. My throat was the worst. It felt like it should have been pouring blood. It's one of the things that made me think that this shit is not a natural occurrence in nature. This feels like a fucking bioweapon. I've had a lot of throat issues in life with tonsils and glandular etc., but I have never felt the pain that I did the first 4 days of the Rona. It was like someone had lashed my throat with a whip and it was raw, scabbed up and then repeatedly scratched open. Every swallow was hell. Every cough brought tears to my eyes. At the time of writing this, I'm a week in, and I've had my throat issues changed to just twinges now, but it keeps tickling until I cough and end up in a coughing fit. Then it gets sore all over again, though not nearly as bad as it was at the start. The muscle aches have gone, but it took me 7 days to be able to pop painkillers from the blister pack because my hands were so weak. Time hasn't existed, sleeping when I have to, waking up and realizing it's already late afternoon, generally only eating so that I can slam down painkillers or zinc tablets. Symptoms: bad migraine, joint aches to the point of feeling like they were on fire at different times and sites, excruciating sore throat, sore muscles, constant ache in the face, weak, dizzy after minimal activity, sniffles, not having to blow my nose constantly but it was sporadic, cough that gets worse when leaning slightly forward, e.g. when checking my phone, etc., coughing fits that bring me to tears and almost throw up. But I ain't no punk bitch. Being weak lately has showed me I don't like feeling vulnerable like that. All weak and tired. I have muscle memory from training that has made me compensate in ways I don't control in order to function at this weird low level. Strangely, my limbs also feel this need/urge to smash pads and punch stuff. I know I can't really do it because of how weak I am right now, but for the first time in over a year, I think I want to go back to my dojo. I'm not sure how that goes, or if it's some delirious pipe dream I've had due to the Rona, but it is one of the takeaways I'm taking from this experience. The other one is that I have the best friends, and they continue to surprise me with their thoughtfulness and kindness trying to get me through this. This post is all over the place because I'm still getting better. I don't really remember what I've written here, I just wanted to document it. Sub because you still count on your fingers sometimes.
I've just realised that you're an author and can't even say the word duck. What the fucking hell's up with that?